As we do every day, some tzedakah, tefillah, tzedakah, dvar Torah. This is what helps our brothers and sisters, as we constantly hear from them, asking, please, do more prayers, give more mitzvahs, do more mitzvahs, give more tzedakah. This is what gives us the courage and the help to continue in our battle in Israel, is what the soldiers keep on saying. And it's quite fascinating. There's such a transformation in the army, with so many religious people in the army these days, leaders, commanders, etc. And they're going to battle in a new way. They're going into battle quoting the Torah, which was with different verses in the Torah, where the Torah says, Shema Yisrael, Hear O Israel, Atem krev mayom lamilchama levechem. Today you are getting close to war on your enemies. Al yirech levavchem. Don't be of faint heart. Don't be afraid. Don't worry. God is going along with you. These are the most empowering and encouraging words that the soldiers hear from their commanders as they get ready to go into battle. Now, I specifically mentioned this today because yesterday was the 24th day of the month of Cheshvan, is the Yohrtzeit of one of the great rabbis who lived in Gaza approximately 300 years ago. His name was Rabbi Avraham Azoulay. In fact, he was a great-grandfather of the famous Chidor, Rabbi Chaim David Azoulay, very famous author, codifier, halachic opinion, traveler. And that was his great-grandfather. Just a little bit of history about him. He was actually born in Morocco, in Fez. But unfortunately, the Jewish community was suffering tremendously from their wonderful neighbors. So he decided to leave Fez and move to Eretz Yisrael. But sadly, the boat that he traveled with broke down, and he lost all his belongings, financially as well as his spiritual belongings, all his books and all his writings and all his manuscripts. Everything was lost. Miraculously, somehow he survived, and he ended up in Israel. In fact, due to this great miracle that he merited to survive that ordeal, his signature became like in the design of a ship. Originally, he settled in Hebron. A plague broke out. He moved to Jerusalem, and then eventually he moved to Gaza, which had a very flourishing Jewish community. In fact, I think I just heard they found a synagogue going back to 6th century. So Gaza always had a very prominent Jewish community. If you remember, a few weeks ago we spoke about the song, the Shabbat song of Koribon, which was composed by Rabbi Yisrael Najara. That was at a similar time. He was also a great Kabbalist, and he encourages extensively the study of Kabbalah. In fact, he says it is through the learning of Kabbalah, particularly the book of Zohar, authored by Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, it is the study of this book, of those writings, of those esoteric teachings, that will take us out of exile. One of his most famous books that he wrote is called Chesed LaAvraham. His name was Avraham. Chesed, kindness to Avraham. And as he writes in his preface, in introduction, the reason why he calls it Chesed LaAvraham is because he's simply thanking God for all the kindness that he did to him, to Avraham. He saved him from drowning in the ocean, and then he survived that plague, which was a terrible situation. So he writes in his book the importance of recognizing God's miracles, even excuse me for that, to recognize God's miracles and God's kindness, even in time of challenges. And when we do so, he says, this helps us to overcome those challenges. This is the light that we have to reveal, that we have to recognize, that we have to see in the moment of darkness. Quite prophetic terms regarding what we're living today in Gaza. Miracles galore. We constantly hear amazing miracles that happen on a day-to-day basis, Baruch Hashem. So he writes, it is important to thank God, to express those thanks to God. And he says, and this will bring us, as he writes, to the ultimate Shema Yisrael, which we hear today from the soldiers screaming. The Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, recognizing the oneness of God, and we won't only hear, but we will see it. That's the time of Mashiach.